What is going on, guys? What's going on? I'm Jay the Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. This could be added into the podcast files or blogcast files. That's why the graphics look the way they look. But I appreciate y'all being here. I've been asked to speak about Vince McMahon resigning from TKO or WWE or from both. He was on the board. As you know, he is a guy that has been the chairman of WWE for a very long time. He purchased the company from his father back in the early 80s. We saw what he did with the company in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, the guy is a complete degenerate. And if you have watched the WWE product over the years, you saw that degeneracy make its way onto television. Look at a lot of his segments from the Attitude Era, post-Attitude Era, once WCW had folded and ECW had folded and he had basically purchased all the competition. I mean, go and look at the early to mid 2000s and the type of things creatively that was being done at the lead that Vince McMahon was. None of this should surprise any of you. If you listen to a lot of ex-WWE talent, you look at the story of Rita Chatterton. You look at the Jimmy Snuka story. You look at all the things that Vince has been accused of. You look at Vince McMahon's upbringing. You see a guy who he's a degenerate. And I'm not going to take away what he has built, but he's a degenerate that built up WWE into what it is today. We can acknowledge what he has done, but we can also acknowledge that he's a complete degenerate. This guy, as of 2020, is doing some of the most insane things that you could possibly do as a CEO or chairman of a billion-dollar company. You look at the documents that were exposed about one Vincent Kennedy McMahon. You look at what this guy had did as of 3 years ago. We're not talking about something 10, 15, 20 years ago, because a lot of his defenders, and there's a lot of you weirdos who claim you're wrestling fans, but you're just WWE fans. You're fans or stands of Vince McMahon. You defend anything WWE. You're looking past this, right? You're trying to make fun of their competition who put on a better product than they do, right? When really you need to look at what's in front of you and the fact that the guy who's been running that company up until now is a complete degenerate who used his position of power to get relations out of a woman who he hired to work for him. This guy is a degenerate that built up WWE. You know, I became a wrestling fan back in the late 90s. It might have been late 97, early 98. I think it might have been late 97. I remember I first saw a commercial for WCW, right? I was like, oh, that looks interesting. It had Sting on it, right? But I remember I was channel flipping and I flipped on to TNT when WCW Nitro was on. And I got to the latter part of that episode, and I think Sting came in and just cleared the ring. Hulk Hogan was there, and he walked off. Well, he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan then, right? And that intrigued me to come back and watch more. And then I saw that they had competition, so I would watch WWE. But I was first a WCW fan. And I saw the Attitude Era, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Stone Cold fighting against, his boss, right? Getting the one up on Vince That stuff was entertaining. And Vince is the boss from hell, right? You had Steve Austin fighting against authority, right? Vince played his role well as a villain, but it just seemed like it got worse and worse. Like, he went from being like this cartoonishly bad boss to being a guy that was literally doing some of the most degenerate things on camera, including with his daughter, Stephanie, right? I know if you are a wrestling fan, you know that this might have been 2005, 2006. It was an episode where he said, "What's up, my N-word?" on live television. Booker T was right there. I think he said it. John Cena was in that particular segment. Booker T and his wife. Booker T, like, I know he didn't just say that. Yeah, he said that. That's just the type of boldness that Vince had, right? Could get away with anything as long as he had his attorneys. He felt like, because again, he went through the trial, the steroid trials. The government went after him. He got through that. And I'm pretty sure he's been sued numerous times for other things as well. When Vince has done interviews, he has not carried himself very well. You could see it underneath the surface that the guy was very arrogant and he felt like he'd get away with anything. But Father Time catches up with you. And I think the older Vince got, the stupider he got. According to the documents, y'all can go and read it for yourself. It's everywhere. This particular woman that he had been dealing with, Janelle Grant, right? He basically brought her on and used his authority and power and money to coerce relations out of her. It got so bad that he even assaulted, this is according to the documents, Janelle Grant claimed that he had assaulted her at his offices at Titan Towers. This was right around the time of the pandemic. It was not only him, it was his buddy, Jim Laurinaitis, aka Johnny Ace. Or John Laurinaitis, excuse me. John Laurinaitis, aka Johnny Ace. They basically took turns on her at the offices. And I believe that there were people there who not only knew that Vince was taking advantage of this woman, because Vince bragged about it. Here you have this old, degenerate, semi-senile man, right, who wants to show that he still got it with the ladies, even though he's not telling people he has to coerce those ladies or lady. And they enabled Vince. And what's funny is that some of those same people who enabled him are still there. Go check out the press conference from the Royal Rumble. Tells you everything you need to know. His enablers are still there. As a matter of fact, Ronda Rousey called out Bruce Pritchard, who I believe is still employed by World Wrestling Entertainment, TKO. They all enabled Vince. They all kissed his ass. They knew what type of guy he was. They knew there's probably worse out there, because remember, he got sued by he didn't get sued, excuse me. He ended up paying off other women around the same time he was dealing with Janelle Grant. He paid 12 to 14 million to numerous women that he had the same similar dysfunctional, degenerate relationship with. And again, a lot of those same people are still there. Now, there are people, especially a lot of these WWE stans, who hate anything that isn't WWE. They worship Vince. They worship WWE. They think that it is over. It is not over. There are still enablers who are still there. And I think there might be more women who come out. And they're not just going to go after Vince. They're going to go after WWE TKO. Because of the enablers who are still there, who have not spoken out, who are not going to speak out. And if they are, they're going to deflect. Vince McMahon is a guy who should have been, he should have been outed and gone a long time ago. But, you know, you have the situation where I believe you have a power struggle that's going on there. And I believe there are forces there that wanted him gone because they wanted power. That's how it is. I remember when there was an ex-WWE employee that sued claiming discrimination. They put all these different people in there except one person who is right there every week, right? And I think that case went nowhere because I think it was may have been baseless. Who knows? I just think that the culture there isn't any different. It might be worse. It's perception. And I honestly believe that for a lot of the great things that people say Vince did, he also did a lot of destructive things. He destroyed the territories. He bought up all his competition. He has ruined people. There are a lot of talent who said that, you know, Vince, you know, did not treat them the best. He's not the best person behind the scenes. We have to be able to look at it for what it is. This guy was a detriment to himself and everybody that he was around. This type of guy he is. So it's good that he's gone. I don't really think they need him anyway. They seem like a content creating train. No matter who gets off, as long as you have a few people to basically keep it going, you know, you can. Even Vince himself can be let out of there. Kevin Dunn is gone. I just think that we are only at the beginning of this. I think it could get a lot worse. We in the lawsuit era. We are in the era of lawsuits, and I could definitely see more women coming forward and suing not only Vince, but WWE TKO. So let me know what y'all think in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts, like this video and share. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram, and I'll see y'all next time.